Try to make this video one more time. The last one didn't get the quality of the chime too good. It was too loud. I think because I had the door open, so I figured I'll try it again with the door closed this time. Let me just see if it's clear. Yeah, but this is a customer's clock. I just wanted to kind of show this off here. It was apparently hadn't worked in 4 or 5 years, and what I found is when I got it, a couple of things were actually wrong with it. First is the mainspring. If you look at the winding armor on the left hand side, that's the gonging train. The mainspring on that one was actually broken, and what I also seen too is that it actually had no lubrication in it. So likely the reason that it broke is when they went to wind it, it kind of binded up on itself because of the lack of lubrication in one part of the spring. Just got too much stress and then it just broke. And luckily it didn't damage any of the other gears when it let loose, because sometimes when they let loose, sometimes it does some major damage, but luckily it didn't in the case of this one. And the other thing too is if you look on the top of the movement, that wheel, that gear with the sharp teeth on it, that's called an escapement wheel. And beneath it there's an arm that's called a verge assembly. It just kind of rocks underneath back and forth, and what it does is it's getting a little push. That's what it's attached to the pendulum. The pendulum goes through that, well, not directly through it, but the suspension spring and the rod that it hangs on goes through it, and what it does is that gear pushes that verge back and forth, which pushes the pendulum back and forth. And then basically what it was out of adjustment. It was too close, and also the prongs on the verge weren't bent correctly, so it wasn't getting the proper kick back and forth. It was getting very little on one side and too much on the other, and it just wasn't. It was losing momentum that way. So I adjusted that, but also too I had to move it completely apart to clean and oil it as well, because it hadn't been serviced in a while. And actually this is going to be gonging shortly, so I'm actually going to come back a little bit. Got a nice sound to it. Hopefully it won't be as loud this time. Last time it was so loud it just ruined the quality of it. But basically this clock hadn't worked, like I said, it hadn't worked in 4 or 5 years from what the customer told me, and those were the reasons. Was the spring was broken on the one side, and the verge assembly wasn't adjusted right, so that's why that hadn't worked. And plus it was dirty. It needed to be cleaned and oiled. So works good now. It's actually got a really nice pendulum on it. And I don't know if you can see it. Blurry, but it's not too bad. It's a nice clock overall. Just zoom back a little bit here. You can see it. You have to forgive me because I'm looking at the computer screen as I'm doing this, which is behind me. Now, when you look closely at it, you can see the 2 sprockets that are towards the bottom there. What they were originally was part of a mechanism that prevented overwinding of the springs, but whoever, I guess, who had worked on the clock the last time didn't put the sprockets back in on the top. So unfortunately those are just kind of there now. Now it's not absolutely crucial to have those sprockets on there, because a lot of the other movements, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark, I don't know if you can see that one, not really, or any of the other ones. They actually don't have those sprockets on them. The only time those sprockets are really important is on a cable-driven grandfather clock movement, because that's something you don't want to overwind is the cables, because there's only so many lines in the spool, so many grooves for the cable to fit in, and if you go too much, it bunches up and then it won't run because it gets stuck. So basically now those sprockets are just kind of sitting there, and I've tried to find sprockets for it, but unfortunately I haven't had any luck. But like I said, it's not absolutely crucial to have them, but it's beneficial. It's certainly nice. You just, otherwise you just have to be careful how you wind them, the springs up. And a lot of times you can tell, if you've had clocks for a while, you can tell when it's wound tight enough. And that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to show this off, and hopefully it'll be a fairly clear image, and hopefully it won't sound quite so loud as it did last time.